So in the time that, since we last were together, what kind of yoga have you guys done? You knew I was going to ask, right? None. See, I like the honesty. None.
We know you were practicing on your vacation.
I was practicing on my vacation, yes. You did. You did online. Oh, on YouTube. Yes, excellent. Excellent. Good. Every Friday. I love that. Great. What else? Did you guys do? What kinds of things were you doing? I always like to check in. The feet thing. The thing you all love the most. And the hands. And the hands and the feet. Yeah. Right. Right. You don't have to be, right. You can be watching TV doing anything when you're doing those. You know, hands and feet don't get a whole lot of attention in exercise programs, and they don't get a lot of attention in our daily lives, right? We expect a lot from our hands. Think about how much you use your hands every day. We expect a lot from them. And then when they hurt, that's the only time we pay attention. Our feet, you know, we just throw socks on them and we jam them into shoes, and we don't pay a whole lot of attention to our feet either until we start to have some issues with our feet. But oftentimes, and I've said this before, issues with the feet will manifest elsewhere in the body, right? So if your toes aren't independent, if you don't have a lot of sensitivity in the bottoms of your feet, how you step, how you walk, how you stand is going to be affected, and that affects your knees, it affects your hips, it can affect your back and your neck. So everything up the chain is affected by your feet. So to me, that's like the most important thing I do any day is work on my feet. And I have lots of little tools that I use. One of my favorites is a golf ball. So just get a golf ball, roll when you're sitting, again, watching TV or sitting at your kitchen table, just roll on the bottom of your foot. It can be pretty uncomfortable when you start, especially if you haven't done a lot of sensitization kinds of movements with your feet. But a golf ball can be really effective. And anyone who's had plantar fasciitis, yes.
I use a frozen bottle of water.
Yes. Just roll the frozen bottle of water. Right, right. And some PTs will have you use a frozen golf ball. That's not a very pleasant or comfortable thing. So better to do it proactively, I think, beforehand. All right. Yeah. So I guess we're going to be working on some feet things today, for sure. Yeah. Anything else that you did that you know, kind of sticks with you in the last few weeks? Hips. Hip exercises. Yeah, some hip exercises. Good. Good. Keep you walking, keep you moving. Okay. And then, of course, there were those who did none, which is okay too, right? So you were breathing, right? You were breathing. Okay. That's all that matters, right? The hands. Yeah, the hands. Always the hands, John. All right. Well, let's start with a little bit of breathing. So if you want to come right up to the front of your chair, if you want to take your shoes off, that's great. If you'd rather leave your shoes on, I see some of you have little pads and little towels and all that. That's awesome. So just lift up your toes, keep the balls of your feet on the floor, lift up your toes, spread them out a little bit, and then place them down so you can feel the contact between the bottoms of your feet and the floor. Even if you're in your socks, that's okay. You can feel the inside, hopefully the warmth of your socks. And now press down into your feet a little bit. The bottoms of your toes, the balls of your feet, the outside edges and the heels. And as you press down, notice that the muscles in your legs start to activate a little bit, right? You can feel it. Some are going to feel it in the lower legs, some are going to feel it in the upper legs. And then see if you can feel that come up a little higher, maybe into your glutes, your butt. And now as you're pressing down into your feet, take your hands, place them on your legs. Let your fingers come apart a little bit. And then just gently press your fingers and the palms of your hands down into your legs. So you're pressing your feet into the floor, and you're pressing your hands into your legs. And now take your shoulders right above your hips. So for most of us, that's going to mean lean back just a little bit. And notice if your neck is feeling kind of rigid, see if you can just relax your neck and your jaw. And then close your eyes. And as you breathe in and out, hopefully through your nose, if you can do that, Breathing in and out, just notice your breath. Notice your body at attention here, right? So you've got this active sitting posture. You're pressing into your feet, you're pressing into your hands, just gently, not like really strongly. And as you're pressing down, your spine is getting longer. And feel how the breath can move in and out of your body. Where do you feel movement? Do you feel it in your chest or your belly? Do you feel it in your ribs? Do you feel it in the back of your body, the front of your body, the sides? And as the air is moving in and out through your nose, what's happening in your jaw? Is it tight? Are your teeth clenched? Is your tongue plastered to the roof of your mouth? Can you relax your tongue? Can you relax your jaw so that your teeth come apart just a little bit? And notice how that affects your breathing. And begin to deepen the breath so that every time you inhale, you can feel the air moving down the back of your throat into your lungs, feeling expansion either in your chest or your ribs or your belly. And as you exhale, see if you can pull your navel in toward your spine. Press out a little bit more breath. So there's an active component to the exhale. We sometimes think that the exhalation is passive, but we're actively exhaling as we pull the navel in toward the spine. Breathing in, feel your body fill, and breathing out, feel your body empty. Breathing in, fill your body from top to bottom. Breathing out, empty your body from top to bottom. As you're still gently pressing into your feet, gently pressing into your hands, let your shoulder tops come down away from your ears a little bit more. So actively pull the shoulder tops down. And again, as you breathe in and out, notice what that little shift, what that little change does for the breath. How that affects your awareness of breath, how that affects the movement of the air in and out. Notice how long and slow your breath can be. And take one more full deep breath in, and when you get to the top of that breath, hold your breath in just for a moment, and then let it out with a sigh. Relax your hands, relax your feet, and let your eyes gently open. Let's take the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. So we'll roll the shoulders a little bit. Notice what your shoulders feel like this morning. Are they noisy? Yes. Are they tight? Are they crunchy? Is one crunchy but not the other one? And can you roll the opposite way? So if you were going backwards, go forwards. And what does that feel like? When your shoulders come up to your ears, kind of hold there for a minute, and then really slowly come down. And continue. Circling around, really slow movement. See if you can sense or notice or feel a circular movement in the shoulders. Now, it might feel totally circular to some people. There might be some, what I'll call flat spots, right, where the shoulder movement isn't quite as smooth, and so as you turn around, it might feel like you hit a little flat spot. And then reverse, and again, go very slowly. And just one more time, circling the shoulders up and around. And then let the shoulders come down, pull them down toward the floor. So we're really actively pulling down. Breathing in, breathing out. Take your hands from your lap, and we're just going to begin to squeeze and extend fingers. So keep your shoulders down, right? Sometimes when we lift the hands, we tend to lift with the shoulder top, so we're just trying to keep those shoulders down. Notice if your hands are feeling a little tired this morning. Sometimes there's some noise in there, little tendons snapping, maybe little crunching noises. And then extend your hands, spread your fingers really, really wide. And then squeeze your hands into fists only to the point where it's not painful. So if you have a little arthritis, you don't want to squeeze too hard, and then extend and breathe as you're doing this. So just letting the air move in and out. Relaxing into this movement with your hands and fingers. Good. And the next time that you extend, we're going to hold out there and then take your right hand. We're going to pull the right fingers back. Take your left hand and kind of pull them back. Straighten your elbow. And then give your elbow a little bit of a bend. And straighten and bend. So breathing in and breathing out. We're just straightening and then bending the elbow. Noticing where we're feeling this. Keeping the pressure on the hand here. So we've got the fingers pulled back toward the wrist, just like that. Right? So that's the whole movement right there. So the next time your arm's extended, we're going to hold here and breathe, right? And pull back a little bit more on those fingers if you can. Good. And then release your fingers, bring them down toward the floor, and then press on the back of your hand. Again, keep your elbow straight if you can. You're going to get more benefit to the arm muscles with the elbow a little straighter. So we're going to do some work for the arms and hands here today, as well as the feet and the legs. Good. Release that. Kind of swirl that around a little bit. Take the other hand. We're going to extend that. Pull back on the fingers. Okay, so keep the shoulder down away from the ear, and we're just going to bend the elbow and then straighten. And you don't have to bend a lot, just a little bit. Just a little bit kind of takes the tension out of those tendons up by the elbow. Breathing in and breathing out, but keep pulling back on the fingers, right? So we're just pulling back like the fingers are going to the wrist. And the next time that you extend, we're going to hold there. Good. And pull back a little bit more if you can. So some folks are going to feel this in the fingers. Some folks are going to feel it in the palm of the hand, the wrist. Could be feeling it in the forearm, the elbow, up into the upper arm even. So it really depends on where you're tightest in your arm and your hand. So next exhalation, release that hand. Fingers come down. We're going to press on the back of the hand. And again, elbow stays nice and straight if you can. Shoulder down away from the ear. Keep pulling back. Now this is stretching the muscles here on the top part of your forearm, and you might even feel it up into your upper arm a little bit, around the elbow. You could feel it into the wrist, even in the back of the hand. So breathing in, breathing out. Good. Release that. Swirl that around a little bit. Excellent. And then we're going to bring the arms down by the sides with the palms facing forward. Keep your elbows tucked in really close, and we're just going to bend the elbows and come up and down, right? So with the elbows tucked in really close, what that's doing is isolating the muscles here in the upper arm, because when the elbows are out, you can use your shoulders a lot, right? We can kind of cheat with the shoulders a little bit here. So we're trying to keep those muscles a little bit isolated. Good. Just a couple more. So your elbows are kind of like hinge joints. They bend and extend like a hinge joint. Good. Excellent. Next time your hands are up here, hold, and then we're going to bring the elbows out to the side, and then we're going to bring the arms out and in. So your palms are facing the back of the room. So keep those elbows lifted, right? And the next time that your hands come out to the side, we're going to hold there. So your palms are facing the back of the room. Everybody got that? Okay, bring your arms behind you as far as they'll go, and bring your palms together back there. No? Not going to happen? Chairs in the way. Okay, chairs in the way. All right, I love that excuse. Yes. Now notice as you're back here, are your shoulders way up here? Pretty much, right? Okay, so let's come around to the front, and the backs of the hands are together now. Right? Can you get the backs of the hands together? Pull the shoulders down. Ah, there we go. Everybody went down about 6 inches. Okay, so keep the shoulders nice and low. Sweep your hands out. Bring your palms together back there unless the chair gets in the way, right? So notice if you're leaning forward, is everybody's in that flying position, right? See if you can do this without flying. And then come back. So now we're going to do this with breath, because I know you all were holding your breath. So we're simply going to bring the arms back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. That'll get your hands closer. And then come back around, right? Breathe in, breathe out. If you're leaning forward, you're flying. So we're not flying today. We're grounded today, right? At least for this move, we're grounded today. Good, just a couple more. Excellent. Good, one more. Awesome. Okay, come back around, shake out your arms a little bit. Whew, so we put the arms in an unusual position, right? We put them in an unusual position that's good for them. So we're going to take the arms out to the sides. Now bring your palms up. So with your palms up, we're going to raise the arms up overhead. Now lift your shoulders way up to your ears. So it's like you're trying to block out the sound of my voice by using your shoulders, right, to block your ears. And then we're going to bring the palms away and arms come all the way down. So this is the whole movement, and we're going to breathe as we do this. Turn your palms up. Breathe in. Lift, lift, lift. Breathe out. Lower down. And do the best you can. So if you're working with a shoulder issue or you're working with an issue where you can't get your arm up past your shoulder, past shoulder height, that's okay. Just do the best you can. When you raise your arms up overhead on that inhale, see if you can get really tall in your chair. Get as tall as you can. And when you bring the arms down, see if you can reach your fingers down toward the floor. Just 2 more of these. Good. Breathing in and breathing out. And last one, we're going to breathe in and breathe out. Excellent. Let your hands rest on your lap. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a breath in and out and just notice. Notice what you're aware of in your fingers and your hands, your arms, your elbows, your upper arms and shoulders. Good. Let your eyes open. Take your hands together. So as you take your hands together, we're going to make a little circle with the hands, right? So the hands are together. Hear all that nice wrist music in there? Yeah. Okay. And go in the opposite direction. Ooh. What does that feel like, right? Very weird. Okay. Now just to make it a little more fun, unclasp your hands and reclasp them the opposite way. So whichever thumb was on top before, it's now on the bottom. Not just your thumb, but your whole hand, right? So like I clasp my hands like this, so my first finger and my thumb on this hand are on top. I'm going to go the other way. It should feel rather strange. Should feel like they don't fit, right? Okay, now do your circles. And notice if you feel a little more restricted. Yeah, interesting, huh? And reverse your circles. And did I say breathe? You might want to breathe. Okay, now to make it even more fun, keep your hands the way they are, but do figure 8s. Oh, right? You're concentrating, I can tell, right? Notice if your shoulders are helping, right? Try to get the shoulders out of the picture. It's just your wrists. So you might even bring your elbows close together. Oh, and breathe. Yeah, always the breathing. Okay, and relax that, shake that all out. Okay, so now your hands are all confused, right? They have no idea what they're supposed to be doing. Take your right hand out to the side like you're saying stop. Raise that arm all the way up overhead. Bend your elbow. Place the palm of your hand on your chin or the bottom of your face, however you can do it. So the palm faces in, right? Okay, and then we're going to come up and all the way out and around. We'll do that a few times, right? So breathing in and out. Keep breathing. Bend the elbow, keep the palm facing toward your face. So your thumb is facing me, right? So it's not this way, it's this way. And this can be really hard, right? You might not have the mobility to do that the whole way. So if you get this far and that's it, that's okay. If you can get your hand on toward your face, that's okay too. Great, how about just one more on this side and maybe we can take a breath while we're doing it. Good. Okay, so that was the right hand. Let's see what the left hand can do. Take the left arm out to the side. So it's like you're saying stop. So you really want to extend that arm, right? Breathing in, breathing out. We're going to bring the arm up as high as it'll go. And then palm of the hand to the face. Good. Up and around and down. So let's do that a few times, right? Breathing in, breathing out. Keep the arm extended. When you're reaching out, make sure you extend the arm as much as you can. So you're creating a little bit of length in the muscles, getting some space in the joints. So your wrist is involved, your elbow is involved, your shoulder is involved. How about just a couple more of these? Y'all look like you got this pretty well. Good. And it might be easier on one side than the other. You noticing that? Yeah, right? Okay, last one and down. Good. Okay. So that was pretty easy. Let's make it a little harder. So take your right hand and bring your thumb and your first finger together, right? So y'all know the spyglass by now, right? We do the spyglass. So we're going to take the arm out to the side, bring it up overhead. So now your palm of your hand is facing the ceiling, right? Okay. Keep the palm of your hand facing the ceiling. Bend that elbow and see if you can get you can even hook your fingers on the bottom of your chin. See if you can get your little spyglass on your eye. I'm spying y'all out there. I'm spying you. Okay. Release that. Kind of crazy, right? Let's shake that out a little bit. Let's try that on the other side. First finger and thumb, right? Coming out to the side, up overhead. Palm of the hand is up toward the ceiling. And then we're going to bring that palm down. You can hook your fingers on your chin if that's helpful. And then you're going to bring your little spyglass. Good. This is good for the nerves in your arm, by the way. This is in your neck. Your neck, the nerves in your neck go down into your arm and your hand. So this is good for the nerves. And then come all the way up and around. Okay, let's try both at the same time. Right? Oh, gosh. You're coming back with a bang, right? So here we go. We're going to go out to the sides and up overhead. Palms of your hands up toward the ceiling. There we go. Breathe in, breathe out. See if you can come down and make... Oh, well. I'll have to work with that. There we go. Good. Can you see me? Yes. Awesome. And release. Good. Whew. All right. So you all were doing that the last few weeks, right, at home? The favorite, yeah. So again, thinking about like if you have pain in your hands, if you have pain in your arms, or you have like neck issues, those are some nice movements to do for the nerves. You know, we think about the muscles all the time, but we don't often think about how the nerves are impacted with things. So that movement is called a glide. So it sort of lets the nerve start to move a little bit more freely. All right, we're going to go right to the feet because that's your favorite. All right, look down at those feet. How are they doing down there? They need a pedicure. Yeah. Okay then. All right, so just kind of a reminder. So we have the back of the heel is here, and then we have the balls of the feet, right? We got the big toe ball mound and the little toe ball mound. So if you think about those 3 points as contact points for the feet, we're going to keep those 3 points on the floor on the left side and the right side and raise all your toes up and then place all your toes down. So very simple to start. Just lift and lower just the toes. Breathing in and breathing out. Relax your jaw. Relax your hands, right? So you might be clenching your hands, trying to get a little more oomph for the toes. So notice as you're lifting and lowering, do all of your toes lift up at once? Or could you lift them up like a little bit independently? Like almost like a little bit of a wave, right? That kind of wave movement. Can you get something like that? And it might be that maybe 2 of the toes hang together and maybe the big toe can kind of work a little more independently than the rest. So it's just sort of an investigation about what's possible in your toes. Okay. And then the next time they're all lifted, hold them up there. So if you've got all your toes lifted, but the 3 points of contact, the heel, the big toe ball mound, and the little toe ball mound, they're all on the floor. We're just going to keep all the little toes lifted and press just the big toes down, and then lift. So we're just pressing the big toes down and lifting, and pressing the big toes down and lifting. And breathe as you're doing this. And if it helps to use your hands to instruct your feet, you can do that, right? So you can use your thumbs as your big toes, kind of as a proxy for your big toes to kind of show you what to do. Okay, next time you have your big toes lifted, I'm going to ask you to hold, and now see if you can bring your big toes toward one another. Right? You all are saying, what is she saying? I don't understand that. They want to stay together, right? See if you can do that again. Bring your big toes toward one another. So everybody's lifted, but they're moving, the big toes are moving toward one another. And then relax. Try that one more time and do that with a breath this time. So breathing in and out, bring your big toes toward one another. And then relax and let all your toes come down. And take a moment here just to kind of process what we just did. So that might be an unusual kind of movement for your toes, right? How many of you do that on a regular basis? Bring your big toes. Yeah. So what happens for most of us, the big toe kind of goes this way toward the other toes, right? Part of that is our shoes. Part of that is the way we walk or the way we stand. And so when we take our big toes toward one another, we are actively working the muscle right here on the inside of the arch, not on the bottom of your foot, but on the inside of your arch. That is the muscle that is responsible for bringing your toes into alignment, right? And when we have like a bunion or a toe that starts to cross over, what happens is this muscle is weak and it gets lengthened. So this is I know this sounds crazy, but foot exercises, muscle exercises in your feet are so important because this is going to help with your balance as well. So let's try that again. This time we're going to keep all the toes on the floor, right? So with the toes on the floor, bring your big toes toward one another. And then relax. And we'll breathe in and out. So not like this, you guys, right? You don't. That's not what I mean.
How many of those
That-
did you see?
That works. I saw a couple. Just a couple, and I'm not going to name names. So just take your big toes and see if you can just kind of crawl them across that little chasm, right?
You know what's odd? Only one of them is going.
Only one of them is going. Anybody else having that experience? Only one toe's moving? Yeah. One at a time. You can do that. Yeah, so just kind of go one at a time with them. So the one that is not moving, what I would say is probably this muscle in here is a little weak. Needs a little bit of assistance. And if you have a bunion, it's probably the toe that has the bunion. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So relax that a little bit. See, just when you thought we couldn't do any more exercises with the toes, we find another way to exercise those toes. All right. So let's lift all the toes up again. And this time we're going to keep the big toes lifted. So what we're doing when we're keeping the big toes lifted is we're strengthening the big toe muscle here on the top of the foot, right? So we're going to keep that big toe lifted and press all your little toes down. And then lift all the little toes back up. So breathe in and out. So we've got 3 points of contact, right? The heel, the balls of the feet. We're keeping the big toes lifted. We're not letting them come down, and all the little toes come down. Now, the more you press down on your little toes, can you lift your big toes even higher, right? Try not to do this, right? Yeah, try not to do that. That's the temptation, right? So we're just pressing those little toes down. Notice your breathing, what's happened to it. It's got very shallow or it's stopped, yeah. So see if you can breathe as you're doing this. You can use your hands to kind of instruct your feet. Yeah, that's helpful too. And then relax all of that. Whew. Notice your feet. Notice what's happening there. Do you feel a little more aliveness in your feet? Yeah, a little more awareness of your toes, right? The fact that they're independent, that they can be independent. Okay, so let's lift just the big toes, keep the little ones down, and then lower the big toes. So we're just going to lift and lower the big toes. All little toes stay on the ground, right? Easy, hard, yeah. Harder on one side than the other? Yeah, yep. Okay, let's keep the big toes down, and we're going to lift all the little toes and then lower. Easier. Harder. Yeah, right? Yes to both. There's no wrong answer. That's what I love about this. There's no wrong answer. They're all correct. Okay. Lift them all up. Big toes down and last toes down, but middle toes lifted. Keep at it and relax. Do that again. So all 3 points on the floor, right? Lift all the toes. Big toes down. Baby toes down, but middle toes all lifted. Yeah. Yeah. You all got that. Try that one more time. Right? If your foot's starting to cramp, just give it a little bit of a stretch there, right? Yeah. So lift all the toes. Big toes down, baby toes down, middle toes all lifted. I see some of you doing it. That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. And relax all that. So that's the hardest, right? That's not the hardest? It is. Okay. It usually is. For some people it might not be, but for most people that's going to be the hardest because that affects the arch in your foot that goes from the big toe to the little toe. So you have three muscles that combined. Well, you have more than that, but for the sake of this conversation, there's an arch here on the inner part of your foot that we all know about, right? There's an arch here on the outer part of your foot that some of us know about, and then there's the arch that goes from the big toe to the little toe that not a lot of us know about. And it's the combination of those three arches, of those three muscles, that create the lift in your arch. So if you're weak in one area, your arches won't be as strong. When you're able to lift your toes the way we're doing here, you're actually creating more sensation in your feet, which is going to make it easier for you to balance. And even if you're not doing an active balancing, if you're not like standing up and balancing on one foot, every time you take a step, you're balancing. Every time you transfer your weight to your forward foot, you're balancing. Because you lift up that back foot, all of your weight is on your leading foot. You might not have thought about it like that, but that's a really important thing to remember about how you walk, right? So transferring all your weight onto that forward foot is an act of balance. So we're going to be working on balance a whole lot. So another piece that's really important for balance is your ankle mobility, right? So we're going to do some work with ankle mobility. Let's take the right leg and circle your ankle around. And if this is too much, you can have your heel on the floor. You don't have to have your leg lifted to do this. And then reverse the direction there. Now just notice the mobility in your ankle. Now if you've had some ankle surgery or you've had an ankle injury, you might not have quite the range of movement in your ankle. And then point and flex your foot. Right? So pointing is with the toes out like that, and flexing is with the toes going toward the shin. Right? Breathe in, breathe out. Notice what that feels like. And then we'll go to the other side. So same thing, take your other foot, circle around. Ooh, nice big crack. That's good. And your ankles don't get a lot of this kind of movement unless you're weight bearing. So it's nice to do this. Again, I should just call this TV yoga, right? So you can do this while you're watching TV. Yeah, just circle it. So did I say switch? If I didn't, go ahead and switch direction. You did. Oh, good. So I was testing you. You were right on there. And then point and flex, right? Point and flex. Good. This is great for those who suffer with foot cramps or leg cramps, like at night, right? You get those leg cramps at night. This is good for that. Okay, and then place that one down. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit more complex move now for the ankle and the muscles in the lower leg. So what we're going to do is have your lift your heel up or have your legs straight if that's easier for you. We're going to scrunch the toes. Right? So scrunch the toes like you're picking up a raisin. I'm going to go sideways so you can see what I'm doing. So we've got the toes scrunched. Pull the top of your foot toward your shin with your toes scrunched. Breathe. Keep your toes scrunched and point your foot. Ooh, and pull back, right? So keep the scrunch in your toes. Y'all got that? You're breathing? Yeah? Can you feel that? Okay. Next time you pull the top of your foot toward your shin, flay. No, don't flay your toes. Splay your toes. Splay your toes. And now scrunch and point. And come back and splay. And scrunch and point. Good. Come back with them scrunched and then splay. One more time. Scrunch, point, breathe, really point. Point, 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 really hard. And then come back and splay and relax. Whew. Take a moment. If you want to close your eyes, just notice your right foot and your left foot. Your right leg and your left leg. Your ankles. Notice any difference there. And let your eyes open. We're going to bring the party to the left side. So extend that leg. You can have your heel on the floor or lifted. Scrunch your toes. And as you scrunch, you're bringing the top of your foot toward your shin, right? And then point. Keep the scrunch in your toes. So we're pointing and flexing the foot with the toes scrunched. Now this might be a little more uncomfortable on one side than the other, especially if you're someone who suffers with leg cramps. This really works the lower legs quite a bit. Okay, the next time that you're pulling the top of your foot toward your shin with your toes scrunched, you're going to hold there for a moment and then splay your toes. Scrunch, point, breathe, come back, keep them scrunched, and then splay. How about 2 more times? Scrunch, point, breathe, come back, splay. Last time, scrunch and point, scrunch and bring back, splay, and let that foot come down. Whew. Close your eyes again. Take a breath in and out and notice your right foot and left foot. Your ankles, your lower legs, your shins and calves, right? That's your lower leg. Let's take a breath in, let it out with a sigh. Let your eyes gently open. Okay, so we're going to take this movement up into the knee a little bit. So let's bend and extend the right knee. Bending and extending the right knee. Notice how far back you can bring that foot underneath the chair, and then how straight can you make your leg, right? Notice if you're doing this with your shoulders up here, if you can relax your shoulders down, maybe relax your jaw. Good. Notice your back. Are you kind of slouching a little bit in your chair? Maybe bring your hands alongside you. Give yourself just a little lift here. Excellent. One more time. And then we're going to switch sides. We're going to go right to the other side. So again, just coming to the knee, bending and extending. You might hear some noise in there, right? Snapping, cracking, popping. Usually, generally, noise without pain is okay, especially in things like knees and ankles. We have a lot of compression in our legs because they're carrying our weight, right? And we're transferring. Like I was saying, every time you take a step, you're transferring all your body weight onto that leg that's in front. So your ankle is getting all your body weight, your knee is getting all your body weight. Just one more time. Feels like we did twice as many on this side. And then bring that all the way down. Good. Scoot over to the right side of your chair. Okay, so now that we have like really flexible ankles and feet, we're going to use that using heel and toe, kind of walk, kind of crab walk that foot way out, and then it's going to come back. And notice how flexible that foot and ankle feel. Right? Maybe they feel really flexible, maybe they don't feel flexible at all. And as you're doing this, can you notice a little bit of side-to-side movement in your knee? So you might put your hand down by your knee and see if you can feel that. So we often think about the knee as being a hinge joint, right? It just kind of opens and closes, bends and extends. But there's some side-to-side movement in your knee, and there's supposed to be a little side-to-side movement in your knee. Good. Next time your foot is way out to the side, let's hold it there. Good. And then we're going to let the knee kind of fall forward a little bit. So you're relaxing all the muscles. And now we're going to engage the muscles here in the side of the hip, in the back part of the hip, and pull the knee toward the wall behind you. And then relax it. So we're just pulling the knee and relaxing and breathing as you're doing this. So notice what you feel. Now, if you need to go a little farther out on your chair, a little farther in, you can make whatever adjustment you need so that you can feel that kind of in your hip. Good. A couple more of these. So we're just getting a little bit of internal and external rotation of your thigh in your hip socket. Now again, if you've had hip surgery, replacement, you might be a little limited in how much of this is available to you on this side. Okay. And then the next time you're pulling that knee back toward the wall, we're going to hold there. Use your heel and your toes, walk the foot over, and keep walking all the way over to the other side. So we're going to scoot to the other side of the chair. And again, using the heel and the toes, little crab walk for that foot out. And then back in. Breathing in and breathing out. Good. Can you sit up really tall as you're doing this? Can you bring some breathing into it, right? So long, slow, deep breaths. That helps with the relaxation response in your body. It's something called your parasympathetic nervous system, right? So your nervous system is either sympathetic, which means it's in crisis mode, or it's in parasympathetic, which means it's like totally chill. So we like parasympathetic better. Okay. How about next time we're out there, we kind of hold out there. Good. Sitting up really tall, we're going to let that knee kind of fold forward a little bit. And then using the muscles here in the outer part of the hip and the leg, we're going to pull the knee toward the back wall and breathe in and out. So just exercising that hip, going in and out a little bit. Good. And notice, does this side feel different than the other side? Yeah. We tend to be asymmetrical. We look at ourselves and we think that we're symmetrical, but we really are not. We have ways that we prefer to move, and part of that is our anatomy, the way our bodies are assembled, and part of that is the connection with the brain, because years and years of doing something a particular way, it sort of gets that groove in our nervous system and in our communication system that, oh, this is okay to do. Some of it is compensation for an injury, sure, absolutely, or new hardware, anything like that. Next time you're pulling that knee toward the wall behind you, let's just kind of hold here for a minute. And then we'll use the heel and the toes and walk that back around. Good. Come right to the center of your chair and right up toward the front edge of the hill of your chair. I'm going to have you hold on because we're on the front edge of the hill, so it can get a little slippery there. So now we're going to take the right foot and we're going to circle up and around and bring it back down. Right? Left side. Good. So we're just going to do this from side to side, breathing in and breathing out, and I'm going to ask you to slow it down. All right? And notice now, are you using your back? Are you leaning back? Are you leaning to one side? Leaning to one side. Can you sit up nice and tall and let the muscles around your hip do the work? So now notice what you were doing. You were going up and out and around, right? Now we're going to go out, up, and back. So it's a different movement. Out, up, and back. Breathe as you're doing this. Okay, notice which side feels easier to do, which side feels a little harder. And then we're going to bring both feet to the floor. Right? So you got that. So the first movement we went out and around, and then the second movement we went in and around, right? So on your right side, we're going to go up and out and down. And on your left side, you're going to go out and up and in. I'll say it again. So your right side, you're going to go up, out, and down. Left side, we're going to go out, up and in, right? Right side out and down, left side out, up and in, right? So as we're doing this, just notice your brain is actively engaged in this now, right? It's going, what the heck is this? We don't work this way. Okay, you got that? Yeah. Starting to make a little groove there in your brain. Your brain is going, okay, yeah, we got this. Okay, so feet on the floor. All right, let's reverse it. Yeah, I know, that face, right? That's exactly what I was thinking. So we're going to take the right leg, go out, up, and in, and the left leg goes up, out, and around. So right leg goes out, up, and in. Left leg goes up, out, and around. I almost got it wrong, right? Yeah. Got that? If you're not sure, just fake it. I can't tell from up here. Nobody's judging, right? It's all about creating something new and interesting for the brain in the way that we're moving the body, right? Good. How about one more? Okay. Close your eyes. Let your hands rest on your lap. Take a couple of breaths in and out. Notice there's always a little bit of an echo when we're done moving. There's always a little bit of an echo in the body. So see if you can just kind of tune into the echo. What's happening in your hips? What's happening in your legs? What's happening in your brain right now, right? So your mind is just kind of wrapping itself around this possibly new way of moving. And let your eyes gently open. Okay. So let's take the right leg. So actually bring your feet a little closer together. So you have like maybe an inch between your big toes. So not a lot, but just a little bit of space between your big toes. You can have your hands on your lap. You can have your hands on the chair, whatever feels okay. You're going to engage your belly muscles a little bit, so we're keeping the back nice and strong. We're just going to take the right leg and cross it over the left. Just like you're sitting down, right? Like you're just kind of sitting down, going to talk to somebody. And then we're going to uncross that leg. Good. And we're going to cross the left over the right. Okay? So just notice, let's go back and forth with this a couple of times. Breathing in and breathing out, so it's a really relaxed kind of movement. Notice what feels most natural for you. So some of us, we really like that right leg on top. Some of us, we really like that left leg on top. So notice which is your preferred way. You got that? Okay, so whatever is your preferred way, when you get there, stay there. So if this is not your preferred way, go the other way. So whatever is your preferred way, just kind of get there and stay there. Good. Take both hands to that top leg. Okay. And then sit up really tall. So you're sitting up really tall. Great. And now let's engage the top leg like you're trying to bring the little toe toward the shin of the other leg. Right? And then relax that. Can you do that again? So bring the little toe toward the shin and relax. Little toe toward the shin and relax. Now let's do this. Let's take the foot that's on the floor and walk it over closer to the foot that's in the air. Does that make sense? Okay. So now take the little toe side of that foot that's in the air and see if you can touch the outside of that lower leg. And relax. Let's do that a couple of times. Right? Now you might bring your foot out a little bit more. You might bring your foot in a little bit more. So the foot that's on the floor, get it in a position so that you can get that top foot as close to it as possible. So do that a couple more times. Okay, so the next time that you have that foot touching the lower leg, I'm going to ask you to hold there and really sit up tall and breathe. Great. So notice what's happening in your body as you're holding here. There's a little bit of stress somewhere. There's a little bit of tension somewhere. And there's a little bit of stretch somewhere. And it's going to be different for everybody, right? So some of us are going to feel it in the knee. Some of us are going to feel it in the ankle, the leg, the thigh, the hip. Breathe in, breathe out. Just notice where you feel it. And remember, this is your favorite way to do this. Good, and then relax all of that. Okay, walk that standing foot, the foot that's on the floor, walk it over, and then uncross. Okay, and recross now to your second favorite way. Right? Good. All right, so you're in your second favorite way. You can have your hands on your thigh, you can have your hands on the chair, whatever feels good. And again, we're just going to start by trying to bring the outside of that foot to the leg. Just see where it goes. Maybe it's easier, maybe it's harder. Maybe it doesn't get anywhere near where the other one did. Okay. And now let's take the foot that's on the floor and we're going to kind of shimmy it or walk it over toward that foot that's in the air. And you might walk that forward a little bit, you might walk it back a little bit. So the goal here is to see if you can get that lower leg a little closer so that now you can get the foot so that it gets in contact with the lower leg, right? So we'll do that a few times. Just sort of getting a little in contact with that lower leg. Breathing in, breathing out. So it should be a little bit of a challenge. If it's super easy, like if I have my foot out here, my foot just hangs there. So I'm not really engaging my muscles. I have to kind of come back a little bit. Now I'm engaging my muscles. So you want to actually be able to feel something working there. And the next time that you have your foot kind of touching that lower leg, I'm going to ask you to hold here and sit up really tall. And really press those legs together a little bit more. Press the foot rather into the leg. Breathe in, breathe out. And notice what that feels like. Notice the places of engagement. Notice where there's tension. Notice where it's difficult and where it's less challenging. And remember, this is your second favorite way. Breathing in, breathing out. And then relax that leg. Good. And then sort of walk that standing foot back a little bit, uncross your legs, bring your feet to the floor, bring your toes about an inch apart, have your hands resting on your thighs, sit up nice and tall, close your eyes. Breathing in, breathing out. Notice what you're aware of now in your legs, your knees, your thighs, your hips. You might even notice something into your low back or into your belly. Take a breath in, let it out with a sigh. Good. Let your eyes gently open. How are we all doing? Hips feeling okay? They feeling a little more open? Yeah? Let's try one more movement now for the hips. So can you take your right ankle and cross it on top of your left knee? If you can't cross ankle on top of knee, cross your ankle on top of your ankle. That's okay as well. I just want you to be really active with this. So sitting up nice and tall, so thinking about your spine being nice and tall, you're going to use the muscles here in the outside of your leg to pull the knee down toward the floor and then relax. And again, you can do this like this. Just pull that knee down toward the floor. Okay? So pull the knee down and then relax it. Sit up really tall. There you go. Pull the knee down and relax and breathe. And one more time, we're going to pull that knee down and we're going to hold here and keep breathing and get taller in your spine. And now think about hinging forward from your hips, right? So from right here where the hip crease is, we're going to come forward like you're trying to bring your belly button down onto that front leg. So just come forward. You might come forward a half inch. That's okay. You might come forward several inches and then come back up. So we're going to go forward and then come back up a few times, breathing in and breathing out. Keep pulling the knee down toward the floor. So don't let the knee relax. Don't let the muscles there in the outer part of the hip relax. So we're asking the muscles to contract as we're pulling the knee down, and we're asking the muscles to lengthen as we hinge forward. So this is kind of a compound, complex movement that we're doing for the hip. Breathe in and breathe out. Come to the place where it's a little uncomfortable and stay there. So for some people that's going to be a very slight movement forward. For other people it's going to be a really big movement forward. Notice what you're feeling and where you're feeling it. So again, this is subjective, right? You might be feeling it in your hip. You might be feeling it in your leg. You might be feeling it in the front of your hip, like in the groin area. You could be feeling it in your thigh, in your knee, in your lower leg. Some could feel it even into the ankle, maybe even into your back a little bit. Breathing in, breathing out. Good. Slowly come all the way up. Excellent. Lean back a little bit and uncross that leg. And let's go right to the other side. So we're going to cross the left leg on top of the right now. And again, ankle on ankle is fine. So using the muscles in your leg, pull that knee down toward the floor. Don't press with your hands. You're pulling the knee down toward the floor and then relaxing. And pulling the knee down and relaxing and breathing in and breathing out. So that long, slow, deep breathing engages our relaxation response, which is what we want to do. We don't want to, if we're doing something that's stressful for the physical body, which is a good thing, so I'm going to use stress in a positive way. So when I'm pulling my knee down, that's stress for my body. I don't want to compound that by stressing my breath. I want to relax that by having a more relaxed breath. Next time you pull the knee down, hold and breathe and sit up nice and tall now, right? So if you're leaning to one side, you want to make sure you're sitting up tall. And then coming from the hips, from where the creases are in your hips, we're just going to come forward a little bit, like you're trying to bring your belly button down toward your front leg, and then come back up. So we're exploring what range of movement forward is possible with the legs crossed in this fashion, right? Might be very different than the other side. And again, this has a lot to do with, well, it has to do with how your body's assembled, how your structure is, right? So some people have shallow hip sockets, some people have deep hip sockets. Maybe you've got some different hardware in there. Maybe you're working with an injury. Maybe you've got some arthritis. There's so many things that could go into this. Next time you come forward to a place where it's a little uncomfortable, stay there and breathe. And notice how breathing into the discomfort changes your relationship to that discomfort. And it might not happen in 2 or 3 breaths. Sometimes it takes several more breaths, tens of breaths, right? So could you stay here for, say, 30 breaths? What would that be like? That might be a lot right now. Maybe 5 is the max that you can do. Maybe at some point you can get to 10 or 20 or 30. So where are you feeling it on this side? Is it in the same place? Is it in a different place? Could be in your hip, your back. Could be in your thigh, your knee, your ankle, your lower leg. Could be any number of places. And then slowly come up. Good, lean back a little bit and uncross that leg. Bring the foot to the floor. Let your hands rest on your lap and close your eyes. Take a breath in, let it out with a sigh. Notice your lower body now, from your hips all the way to your toes. Notice if there's a different awareness of the contact between your feet and the floor. And if you can keep your awareness inside, kind of relax. So for those who want to sit back into the chair, you can go ahead and sit back into the chair. If you want to stay where you are, you can do that. I'm just going to spend a few more minutes here just breathing and noticing. So let your breath deepen. Going back to the very beginning when we first started breathing, noticing how the breath moves in your body. Is there movement in your belly? Is there movement in your rib cage? Can you feel movement in the front or the back or the sides of your body? And can you feel a little bit more movement, even beyond where the air goes into your lungs? Can you feel more movement, say, into the hips, the thighs, the legs? Maybe there's a sense of movement, kind of like a wave kind of movement in the rest of the body. A very gentle wave. Or it can be like an echo. So maybe you don't feel the movement in your hips, but you can feel the echo of movement in your hips. As you inhale and exhale, where are you holding tension unconsciously? Maybe your neck or shoulders, maybe your jaw or face, maybe your hands. Can you let your breath dissolve that tension? Breathing in and out. Watching air. Watching movement. And then hands come up to your chest. Just kind of place one on top of the other, just resting them here on your chest. And as you breathe in and out, see if you can breathe into the space underneath your hands. And the next time you inhale, hold your breath just for a moment and then let it out with a sigh. And then if you'd like, maybe take your hands together and take a moment in gratitude to yourself for all that you're capable of doing, for all that you're willing to explore and to try. And then if you'd like, maybe open your eyes and just acknowledge all these wonderful people here that we're able to practice with today. All right. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah. Have a good rest of your day. It's supposed to be a little chilly, but nice.